Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I'm Blackbright and I'm talking to you out of the UK. And I decided to call this video Outigration, Mass Outigration versus Mass Immigration. The reason why I called it that is because, my mind was doing overtime this morning. And I was thinking about Shamima Begum and her citizenship being taken away. And then I thought to myself how vulnerable that was making me feel. So then I was thinking, well, my fellow's Jamaican. I wonder if I married him. I was thinking, if I married him, I could get my Jamaican citizenship. And I could then be a citizen of Jamaica after the process. I mean, it would be a genuine marriage because, we've been together for so long. I mean, he's not a social media person, so we wouldn't have stuff on social media, but we'd have photographs and all that stuff. We'd both pass the financial criteria. We're both legit, so, it'd be fine. And I was thinking, supposing not only me thinking like that, supposing other people thought like that. Supposing people started thinking, okay, if they're not married, of course, already, because if they're married already, it doesn't really matter because they'd automatically, if they wanted to go to the country of their non-UK or non-USA partners, they'd be more than qualified. But if they weren't, just supposing people decided, this is just hypothetical, me thinking out of my head and, thinking about worst case scenarios. Just supposing these people decided, okay, England doesn't accept me as a British national or as a British citizen. I'm going to marry my African brother, my Asian brother, my Caribbean brother. I'm going to marry him instead, or vice versa. He's going to marry her. But so instead of the interest being to marry someone for a British citizenship, it'd be the other way around. So we'd have a lot of people marrying for that foreign citizenship then. That would be quite interesting, because it would mean that instead of, Britain having the power, we would then have some autonomy and we wouldn't have to feel so threatened because we would then legitimately have some place to go. For Brits like me, born in this country, it's very disconcerting to think that you could have your citizenship taken away. Very disconcerting. So therefore, I'm thinking, well, just supposing, people got that vulnerable and felt that insecure in the UK, they decided to sell up, all the Asians, all the EUs. I mean, people from Poland and Romania, they're doing it anyway. They're leaving, they're jumping ship. But supposing all the Asians, all the Caribbeans, all the Africans decided, hold on a minute, this isn't really in our interest. It's no longer in our benefit. We're now going to be developing relationships and situations and family connections with those people. British people will be saying that. They're going to develop networks and relationships with the Africans. British Asians will be developing relationships with people in Asia. British Africans will be developing relationships with the indigenous Africans and so on. And there was a mass exodus of all of those generations who don't have grandparents who are British. Because I'm using the American precedent of that's where citizenship of the individual stops at the grandparents. As long as both grandparents are born in the US, born in the UK, they cannot be deported. So I'm using that as a premise and thinking outside the box. I'm thinking, how could how could we put our mind at rest? How could we stabilize our future? I mean, nothing is guaranteed, but that's why I just thought, and that's why I called it mass outmigration instead of mass immigration. I mean, they do have this thing back to Africa, and they have songs that chant, you're leaving Babylon and all that kind of stuff. But it'd be quite an interesting concept, wouldn't it? It would be quite interesting, because I wonder what England would look like. I guess you'd still have people of colour, of course, because you do have third generations who are definitely citizens. So I don't think the map would look that different. But it'd be quite an interesting concept, for the world at large, because, a lot of us Brits, we've established ourselves here. We're legit. We have good jobs. We have homes. And if we married outside and took our custom or our patronage or our, the proceeds of sale of our properties to our spouses in foreign countries, there wouldn't be much to sustain the country. I mean, the younger generations don't have what we have, do they? The younger generations are not in a position to buy homes, a lot of them, unless they're from wealthy families. Then, the job situation isn't that great. So we would be taking quite a lot with us. But yeah, when you're faced with situations like this, it does make you think. It does make you kind of want to plan ahead, to think strategically, and to see what you would do in that kind of situations. I mean, a lot of people, they're not even taking any notice of it at all. But, me with my little curious hat on and, always kind of seeing the bigger picture, I am going to think like that. And I just thought I'd share those thoughts with you. Any comments? Welcome. As long as no destructive or disturbing or offensive comments, please. Thank you.